These are natural human feelings. Anger and rage and sadness and fear. Those are feelings that we all have every day. And my friend Paul Hawkins says, if you're not angry, if you're not filled with rage, if you're not incredibly sad, and if you're not incredibly frightened about our future, you're not paying attention. Anyone who's paying attention will feel these things. Yet we don't want to feel them. And especially we don't want to feel sad. And so we try to shove this part of ourselves away, shove it back down, and clink our glasses and get back to the party. And here's what I learned on Midway. I decided I was just going to allow myself to feel all those things and find out what happened. And if I get depressed, then I'll work on that. I'll find out what it is to be depressed. Because if I expect anybody else to face these issues, I got to face it first and find out what happens. And I learned something about sadness when I went there and I held those birds as they choked to death on plastic. And I rescued them shaking with hypothermia from the water as they were drowning. I did a lot of crying on the island. I felt sad a lot. But I learned something about sadness. I had an experience that was transformational to me. Is that sadness is not the end of the feeling. Sadness is it's like a doorway into grief. What grief is the sadness that we feel when we're losing something that we love. And when we grieve, and many people here are old enough that we've lost people that we love. Anyone here who has grieved, you know that grief is a very particular kind of sadness that contains a tremendous beauty in it. Because what grief is really made of, what grief really is a feeling of love. Grief is not sadness and despair. Grief is love for something.